and welcome to today's very special diesel edition of the Narrowboat Experience.
We just got our diesel stove installed and we shared the installation with you. We're not going to go through the installation process, so if you haven't seen that, we'll put a link up the top here and there'll be a card. We suggest you go and have a look at that before you watch this vlog. This vlog is going to be all about some of the questions that you asked. But another disclaimer, it isn't a financial breakdown. We've literally just installed the stove. We are definitely going to do you a financial breakdown. That is not this episode, our apologies, but we're definitely going to do it.
So if you don't want to miss the costings video, make sure that you've clicked that subscribe button now. It's going to be coming out in the next few weeks.
We are going to sit down and do the numbers. Today, we wanted to talk to you about some of the questions you raised when we got the fire installed. And one of the key questions was, oh wow, maybe Paul made it look difficult to light. So how easy is the Refleks Diesel Stove to light? Luckily, we have had to try it ourselves, and we thought we would take you along and show you exactly how hard it was to light.
Fine. I think we're good. Ready? Can you see anything?
Yep.
So I've turned on all the diesel supply taps, including this one here that is behind the fire, that is the isolation valve. I've put my meths in the fire and now I'm going to light it. And then we're going to wait 3 minutes before turning on the supply to the actual fireplace. Ready? Yeah.
Don't have to be hysterical. So what we can't completely show you now, because we didn't clean the glass because we're quite cold, is that there's about 3 minutes of meths burning in the diesel fireplace. It went up really high, and I tried to show you a little bit of that through the smoked up glass, and now it's just onto its condensation phase, and then it's going to kind of just burn gently. After 3 minutes, we are going to we're going to turn the grey button so that the diesel is on level 1, and then we're going to push the red button that says light the fire.
So behind the fire we have 3 different valves, if you like. There's the shut-off valve that it meets the pipe as it comes through the tiles. Then there's the regulator valve, which is joined onto the back of the fireplace. And then there's the safety cut-off valve, and that's the red button that Anna Marie refers to. And the reason that you press that is because when the Refleks burning area goes below temperature, that valve trips, and so the fuel won't go through. So when you turn it on and you want it to light, you have to press that button to reset it.
Even though the lovely yellow fire looks so inviting, you don't actually want a yellow fire at this point in the diesel heater. You want the little holes that I showed you earlier to be kind of glowing purple or glowing blue like diesel does, and then that's when it's at its best. At the moment it's just burning diesel. It's burning a little bit of the meths with a bit of the diesel, and that is producing really no heat at all. So the more the yellow the flames, the less heat is produced. You really want blue plumes with little yellow tips, and I'll show you when we reach that point. But we're only at minute 2, so I think we're fine.
The timer's been running for about 1 hour and 20 minutes, and the boat is now up to temperature. So we're really pleased with that.
We had to turn it off because we were too hot.
Yeah.
Well, turn it down.
It took about 20 seconds to light the fire, and we monitored it for a couple of minutes whilst we were eating lunch, and we haven't touched it since, and the boat's nice and warm. So far, big thumbs up for the Refleks versus the multi-fuel stove.
Yes.
One of the other questions that we've had is how efficient the Refleks stove is at heating the entire 57 foot of Narrowboat.
Yes. So our Narrowboat has an open plan at the back, and then we have our bedroom right at the front. Our bedroom stays warm enough for us to sleep comfortably. We don't like a really warm boat. We're actually struggling a bit today because it's a little bit warm. It's a little bit too warm for us in the boat today. So I have a system where I have a USB fan, and it runs off a power pack that I charge into the 12 volt when we're running the boat, running the engine. And the USB fan I usually put right at the back of the boat, and I aim it up to the ceiling. And what it does is it pushes the hot air that ends up at the back of the boat, it pushes it towards the chimney, and then it pushes the hot air past the chimney towards the back of the boat. And if I'm running the fan, the bedroom increases, the temperature in the bedroom increases by 2 degrees. So I think that's quite substantial.
And you also have the bedroom window cracked open a little bit to bring the cold air in.
Yeah, so it's a convection heater. A lot of people commented about the fireplace and how does it actually heat the boat. It's a convection heater. So the bottom of the Refleks stove stays cold. Like you can literally go up and touch it. Mm-hmm. The glass is hot, as Munchie will attest to, and the hot plate is hot. And the thing that actually happens is the hot plate produces most of the heat. The flue also takes quite a bit of heat, but not as much as the hot plate. The Refleks will suck the air, the cold air through down the bottom, and it will put the hot air out up the top. So you've kind of got this convection force working. You have to have ventilation. And actually the more, like the better you place your ventilation, the more you will heat your boat. So if we just use the ventilation in the stern, our kitchen area would be super, super warm. So we use the ventilation all the way down in the bow, and we get the cold air coming through, and it rotates like that. Mm-hmm. Side note, the warmest place in the boat is the cat shelf. So they love it up there because the heat from the fan naturally just goes straight onto the cat shelf.
We will be honest with you, on occasion we have put the central heating on to heat up the bathroom on particularly cold days, because
somebody's a bit precious.
The worst thing after having a hot shower is to step into a lukewarm room. So the bathroom is right behind us here. The air doesn't wee around the corners. So yeah. we do occasionally put the central heating on just to give the bathroom warm for me when I shower. And also for her.
Well, I'm going to take advantage of it as well, but I'm not as precious.
Except that one time when I said it's really cold and you went, I'm not going in until the heating's on. Anyway. One of the other things that people have said is you should have got a solid fuel stove, because a solid fuel stove is dry heat. But also the Refleks Diesel Stove is also dry heat.
Yes.
We know this for a fact because
we're dehydrated.
Stay serious.
Okay.
We know this for a fact because the condensation that we've experienced after getting the stove installed is drastically different, because we were getting a lot of condensation on the windows when we were running the Webasto central heating, which is a wet heating system. And also, you know, some of the wood had swollen up a little bit in the doors, and that's completely gone. The boat is dried out.
Yeah.
And that's just after a couple of weeks.
Yes. We did take some advice from you guys. So we bought a Karcher water vac, and we would do the windows in the whole boat every morning, and we would empty the Karcher out probably twice in the morning, which is only a cup of water. But now that we have the diesel stove, we empty it out every couple of days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing. We just kind of do it because we see like little few drops on the window. But it does actually really reduce the condensation.
Yeah. Another thing apparently that we can't do on a diesel Refleks stove is cook.
but we can because we have a hot plate.
So there's a hot plate on the top of the Refleks, as we talked about, and we can put pans on there to heat water, boil the kettle, cook a stew. We want to get a solid cast iron pot.
Yes.
But the ones that we have at the moment seem to be working fine.
But is there any diesel smell?
We've had the stove for several weeks and we haven't had any smell inside of diesel.
No.
I think you only really get that if there's a leak. So
well, there's no smell, absolutely no smell. And even when we've been driving, it's been quite windy, as you know. We've had 3 storms in a row. The chimney smoke, I mean, there is no smoke.
No.
We haven't smelt anything outside the boat either.
If the chimney is smoking, then it means that the fire isn't hot enough and it's not efficiently burning the diesel. So that's a good point. If we're outside and we see the smoke coming out, you have to quickly go inside and look at the fire to maybe turn up the flow of the fuel, or maybe it's already gone out. So
we have yesterday it was really, really windy and it did smoke. We turned it up and it was fine, but it's been really windy. Which brings us on to a few people have commented about backdrafts. Is that what it's called? Blowback?
Yeah.
It all sounds wrong. So if the wind is so powerful that it blows back down the chimney, have we had the diesel smell in the boat? And if I had answered this 2 days ago, I would have said, no, that hasn't happened to us. However, yesterday it did happen.
There was one big poof of wind down the chimney, but I didn't notice any diesel smell.
I noticed a smell, but I'm not 100% sure what diesel smells like. It didn't smell pleasant. It lasted for 3 minutes. I went outside, I checked the chimney and checked the diesel and everything was fine. I think it was just a blowback. And to be fair, when we had Hewitt and we had the multi-fuel stove and it was a really windy day, we would sometimes get a bit of smoke in the cabin from blowback as well.
Yeah. And the one thing I haven't noticed is a lot of the time when you're walking down the towpath and you go past boats that are perhaps burning slightly wet fuel, there's a definite odour as you go past those boats. And when I've walked past our boat, I've noticed no smell. So
it's just weird saying it, but I haven't noticed a smell either.
Yeah. If you're one of our patrons, you will have seen the first cruising video that we did with the chimney as a Patreon only update. Yeah. And we were a little bit nervous about cruising with the chimney the full length on, because mainly of bridge height, not so much for the smoke or anything like that. And with the canal that we're on at the moment is fine. It's lots of tall bridges. What we can do is take the cowl off the top of the chimney and put that on the bit that sticks out of the roof and take the middle bit of chimney out when we're cruising, if we're worried about knocking it on bridges.
Yes, we have some heat resistant gloves to do that as well, because we haven't turned the fire off since it was installed. Well, we turned it off once to show you guys how to restart it. So it would probably be hot if we had to take the chimney off.
I've touched the outside of the chimney and it's not, I mean, you wouldn't want to hold it. You can touch it like that, but you wouldn't want to. We hope you found this video informative and we hope we've answered a lot of your questions. If you've got any more questions about the Refleks on a narrowboat, then put them in the comments below and we'll get back to you. And if there's enough, then we can make another video.
Another one, if you've got another question.
There will, of course, be the video about the costings of running the Refleks versus the Webasto central heating versus a multi-fuel stove.
Because we have had all 3 now.
Yes.
So
subscribe so you don't miss any of those, and give this video a like and share it with a friend.
If you have found it interesting, give it a like, and as always, thank you so much for watching, guys.
And we'll see you again next time.
Bye.